So we've got a jam-packed show for you today. We're going to talk a little bit about the Australia tour, the review of some players that stood out, of course, and we're going to talk about have we learned anything from the tour actually. That's one of the things that I want to discuss. What were the major talking points? What were the positives going into the T20 World Cup? And then what were the positives obviously going towards the building of that 2027 World Cup team and squad? But the main thing that we're going to discuss on today's show is going to be the England, sorry, the England touring squad. Oh, and that's what the show is going to be mainly about. So I'm going to be bringing on Stuart, and we're going to discuss it. I want to get his views on the team. I'm pretty sure there are some names that were left out that maybe Stuart would have liked to see in it. So that's why I need to bring him in. And I know a lot of you guys would probably also want to see certain players that were omitted. But there are some positives, though, I think, with the squad, like certain returns that were very much needed because we need to build momentum towards that T20 World Cup next year. And it is at the beginning of the year as well. So it's going to be, it's a quick turnaround. You know, we don't have a lot of T20s left anymore. We had that 17 mark, but now we've lost the two T20 series in a row almost, like the Tri-Series and then this. So we're going to talk about all of that. And we're going to try and cover everything. If there is time, I'm probably going to try and get to Coach Shukri's press conference. Maybe we should listen to that myself and Stuart, react to the reasoning behind certain selections and omittances in the squad. He normally is very open and honest about those things, so we can get into that. So, without further ado, let's get straight into today's video. Don't forget to always, as per usual, subscribe to the channel, click that notification bell for all future videos, and smash that like button. And then obviously comment on this video after the stream has ended as well. So, let's get straight into today's video. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Cricket Fanatics Magazine. This is your live cricket show. I'm your host, Khalid Moeddin, and today, obviously, we're going to be discussing the England Tour squad, Australia Tour review. We're going to try to refrain from Premier League talk because United again disappointed and spoiled my whole weekend. So I'm sitting here and I have to come do a live with you guys. So please smash the like button for the commitment here because I was in a terrible mood before I came onto this live stream. But let's get into it straight away. I think let's get to it on here. And let's start. Bro, how are you doing? Long time no see.
No, I'm good. I've just been chilling, watching sport. Yeah, hoping this. Well, I'm not sure you want to hear this, but I'm hoping this Isak deal comes over the line for my team. But yeah, I'm all good. How are you doing?
Nah, I'm all good. I'm good. As good as I can be, I guess. And the thing is, to it, it's so much hope after last weekend against Arsenal, and then we go to Fulham, and then we play well for 15 minutes, and then the rest of the game we go missing. And
I'm sure you
luckily,
guys
okay,
are.
the Box won this weekend. And then on top of it, we also get destroyed by Australia. But okay, I know it was a dead rubber match, but still, it wasn't nice to see us get destroyed the way we did, you know? So yeah, let's put that behind us and let's talk some positive cricket talk first and foremost. Let's just start with the Australia series. Now, I just want to talk about this tour because I think the only real positives for me, because Coach Shukri tried a lot of things, looking for a batting spinner, George Linder, Senator Mutasami, Sabrain were all given opportunities. I don't think I was very impressed with any of them. George showed flashes of it. Senator bowled well, but then didn't bat well at all throughout the series, even in the ODIs. But then there were positives in Luandre Pretorius against on the Zimbabwe tour, but then he didn't really show his capabilities in the tour against Australia. But He's a youngster, and he's been in incredible form since he got his debut. So he was bound to have a little bit of a bad patch. It's normal, right? So I don't like this negativity that we see in the fan base when teams or players go on a little bit of a bad, on a bad run. I mean, we need to. That's when they need our support the most, not only when they are doing well. So the biggest not surprise for me, because we knew this to it. How long have we known this already, that this boy has so much talent? But the biggest talking point for me out of this entire series was Deva Brevis. The way he performed in the T20 series, the way he performed in the ODIs, it was so heartbreaking today to not see him get over that milestone. You get that another 50 under his belt in the 50 over format this time, because he scored a brilliant 100 against Australia in that second must-win game. And yes, we petered off towards the end in that second match, but I think those were signs that were positive. I think Lungi Ngidi is looking fitter and fitter as the games go by. He's looking better and better. So that's another positive, I think. So those are things that I think we can take out of this. There are some there's some rustiness amongst the senior players, like Aiden Markram and Tristan Stubbs, and Ryan Rickleton hasn't looked great this entire tour. So those are some concerns, but I'm very positive that they will come good against England. I think that this tour would have been a nice thing to this dust away the cobwebs that might have been feeling after their break after the World Test Championship. We know that would have taken a lot of energy out of them, etc. But those are some of the talking points I think that I would take out of that. From your perspective, Stuart, what are some things that you see positively? First, from the T20 perspective and the ODIs.
Yeah, so I think across the board for me, like that, I'd say from number three to maybe number five, six, like is looking a lot more settled, if that makes sense, in both sort of batting units. Um, in the one day series, a guy for me that really did stand out as well was Matthew Brietzka.
Mm,
I thought he played phenomenally. We got that 80 the other day, and I think in the first game he got a over 50 as well. So it's good to see guys starting to consistently um, get runs. I do agree with you that I think Deerwald has definitely, I don't want to say been the find of the tour, because we've known his potential for a long time. And I think, as soon as he finished matric, everyone was saying throw him in, and I was certainly one of them as well, with my Titans bias. Um, it's nice to see that. I remember a few years ago he had a bit of a, I don't want to say issue, but we always talked about him getting out to the short ball quite easily, and it looks like a lot of that is um, he's found a way to almost deal with it, which I'm very happy with. I do agree with what you're saying about Luandre. Um, and I also think, like a guy like Quinn, I also thought could have maybe been a little bit more consistent at times. But I think, you know, that will come with experience. And I don't think, just bringing them in and out all the time is um, like dropping them is necessarily the right thing, if that makes sense in this scenario, especially
mm,
when we build up to an ICC World Cup next year. Um, I do agree, guys, like Markham, especially in T20 cricket. Um, his batting hasn't been good enough over the past few months. So I'm hoping that he can find some form before the World Cup next year. But I am happy with his captaincy, and it's if I'm honest, I didn't expect us to put, let alone beat Australian in ODI series. I didn't expect us to push them as hard as we did away from home. I thought in their own conditions they'd be um, very good, but yeah, all in all, I'm very chuffed. It's just that number seven all rounder spot that I kind of am worried about. Who do we play as a second spinner? Um, or do we go with the extra seaming all rounder? So yeah, that's just my main. concern of the one day side.
Yeah. Yeah, because today's game was extremely disappointing from a defeat perspective. I know, yes, we already clinched the series, but it would have been really nice to put another fight in, for that to get the whitewash. We were completely destroyed. 276 run defeat. The key to this whole match was the toss, who bats first,
Mm.
because the wicket was extremely flat and dry in the morning session, and we know that at this ground, dew comes to play into play. The pitch gets a little bit moist, a little bit more moist, and there's a little bit
Mm.
more in it for the bowlers, particularly the spinners. In the when you are when to the bowling team that is bowling second, and we saw this with South Africa. That's how we won the series ultimately.
Mm.
We took advantage of those scenarios when it came to us batting and putting runs on the board. So Australia completely demolished us when it comes to that, and it was a dead rubber, yes. But to score their second highest total in their history in ODI cricket against us, and then also their highest ever total in Australia, it
Mm.
was embarrassing in a way to go out that way. Okay, yes, we didn't have our best bowling attack. They decided to rest a couple of players, and we didn't have our best batter during this tour, which was in this ODI series, which is Matthew Brzezinski, because he was feeling a little bit of tightness in his left hamstring. So that was a precautionary stop, because if he plays and then he tweaks it, he's out for the England tour. Can't really
Yeah.
can't really gamble with that. So you need your best. He's currently our best ODI batter.
Mm.
It's plain and simple to see. The most informed, 4 games, 4 half century of four matches, 450 plus scores. I mean, 150 on his debut against a top team as well. So it's not like he's playing against necessarily weaker teams. I mean, he showed it against Australia as well, that he can dominate. And I think this format is the format for him when it comes to the Proteas. So it's
Yeah.
good that you mentioned him, and because I don't know why it slipped my mind. But Matthew Brzezinski has been excellent, and it's going to be very difficult for Lawandre to maybe break into this team when you have a number 3 of Matthew Brzezinski's quality.
Mm.
Someone's going to really have to perform very poorly. Like Rickleton, for example, is a talking point at the moment because he's been really out of form at the top of that order. We've got Luandre Pretorius as a backup keeper opener that could replace Ryan Rickleton. I want to see if Luandre gets opportunities. I would like to see him as an opening batter. I think he bats the
Yeah.
best when he gets that power play to express himself. So, yeah, I don't want him to be the one that gets to push that needs to be pushed down the order. But Coach Shukri made it very clear that Rickleton and Aiden are his openers. And
Mm.
when he makes statements like that, I think it's very hard for us to maybe see him change it. So we're going to have to wait and see with regards to that. This
Mm.
bowling attack, I mean, Quena has a lot of work to do still. He has great games and poor games, and that's normal for a youngster. But he needs to learn some control um, and consistency with his lines and lengths, because that's where things fall apart for Quena. He has the pace, but the control and consistency is lacking a little bit.
I also think he gets a little bit like, um, honestly, like as you're saying, when the situation isn't going his way, like you
Flustered.
could see at the start of the day today, like that they were saying, I think in his first 2 overs, Kerry O'Keefe and them were saying, bowl away swingers, which Chavez said. And like you could see, he just kept trying the same thing, like trying to bring the ball back into, I think it's to Chavez head. And he kept not finding the length. So I think, like, with the bowler, I think I don't want to say it not takes a bit more time to build that BMT up. But yeah, I do think he's got huge potential. Um, I don't think he should necessarily be dropped from the side, but I'd like to see, maybe, I don't want to say it, like ease him in a little bit more, and if that makes sense. Like I don't know, I thought today he was a little bit, like a deer in the headlights, and I think a lot of the bowlers were. If I'm honest, I'm not just trying to
Mm.
pick on him. Like a guy like Mutsasami as well. Um, yeah, I don't know who your number 7 pick is, but yeah, I think as you said today, it was just like they got a bit overawed when I think they saw them get off to the start that Australia did. So yeah,
431 for two. It was terrible.
I
I
was
mean,
shocked.
Mutasami, for me, you can't just pick him as a spinner alone, in my opinion. I don't think he does
Mm,
enough with the ball as a wicket taker to
mm,
pick him as a seven necessarily. And with a bat, he doesn't do enough to be picked as a seven either.
mm.
So it's like a little bit of a tricky one because it looks like they're going to go with Mulder at seven. But when Marco comes back, which he's going to be in the T20, he's going to be back in the squad. That's going to be the big question. So this is actually a nice segue for us to start talking about um, the squad. Oh no, you disappeared.
Yeah.
Let me use this one rather. Okay, cool. So the squads for this particular thing for this England tour. Let me just make this a little bit bigger for you guys. I'm sure I can.
Khalid, sorry, just
Um,
before we start talking about the squad, do we
mhm.
know what happened with Sir Brian? I know he got called for his action. Have they released the outcome of that yet, or because I know
From
he
what
got
I
called
know,
a
it's
few.
from what I know, it's still under investigation. I haven't seen any update on whether he was like fined or whatever the case may be, or cited completely, or banned, or whatever the case may be. So we only got that one report about that they were looking into it and investigating. So
Okay,
based
sorry.
on the fact that he hadn't been selected in the England squads, I mean, I guess that will tell a story on its own.
Hmm.
So
So sorry, I just saw his name
yeah,
wasn't there,
from
and then I was because I thought he could have been an option.
yeah, so I think that's something that maybe Coach Shukri knows something that we don't with
Okay.
regards to that, because the only update we have on him was that initial release where they spoke about um, his action and the ICC looking into it or whatever the case may be.
Hmm.
So where is it? I'm trying to look for it right now. Yeah, re- Proteas bowler reported for suspect bowling action. That's the last update we have. They've
Because
not sent out anything yet. So probably while it's under investigation, you probably can't pick him.
yeah, I know he
So
did get called a
yeah,
few years ago, but well, I think in 2015 or something, and they thought it was fine when he was at the Dolphins. So I'm not sure. Yeah, I don't think it's the first time. But anyway,
yeah. So anyway, let's get into the squad and have a discussion about it because it's important to know. So the Proteas ODI England Tour squad will be in the batting department: Temba Bavuma as captain, Aidan Markram, Ryan Rickleton, Matthew Brzezinski, Tony De Zorzi, Deva Bevis, Tristan Stubbs, and Luandre Pretorius. So it's very much the same squad that is selected here. And then in the all-rounder department, Corbin Bosch, Shirin Mutasami, and Vian Mulder. Semi department, Andre Berger, Lungingidi, Kagiso Rabada, Quina Mapaka, and the spinner that selected is Keshav Maharaj. So it's basically the same squad that was selected for this particular Australia tour. So we're probably going to see a similar type of mentality and approach when it comes to selections, etc. The one major boost is Kagiso Rabada being back, because that just bolsters our entire bowling unit. It just takes us extra two steps. I don't think what happened today would have happened perhaps if KEG was in that bowling attack. So it's good to see that he's there. Then in the T20I squad, it's probably this is going to be the one we're probably going to have the major talking points about. We're probably going to focus on this one much more because the World Cup's around the corner. So this one is more, um, it's more important for us to speak about this because this team is closer to its best, whereas the other team I think is still under development because we still have 2 years until or 1.5 years until the World Cup year, or 2 years until the World Cup in 2027. So this squad is Aiden Markram as captain, Ryan Rickleton, Luandre Pretorius, Deva Brevis, Tristan Stubbs, but David Miller's back in the mix. So that's a major positive. So clearly, Coach Shukri is not looking at someone like Rassi van der Dussen. And we know already Riza Hendricks has been dropped. Then in the all-rounder department, I think he's trying maybe something new. He's given George a chance. He's given Senator Mutasami an opportunity as well now, but now he's probably going to give a chance to Donovan Ferreira. So Marco Janssen's back, Corbin Bosch is here, and Senator Mutasami. The difference here is Keshav is coming in as a spinner in the T20 format because he wasn't there for the T20s for against Australia. And then you got the same as Kagiso Rabada, Kwena Mapaka, Lungingiri, and he's giving Lazard Williams a chance. Now, I've seen a lot of talking points around this. People have been asking, where's Lazard? Where's Lazard? Now, Coach Shukri is giving him a chance. So I wonder if in some of the other T20s, he's maybe going to give maybe an Otniel Bartman a chance, or maybe a Gerald Kutsia in maybe the next series that we play. Who knows? But he's trying a couple of things in key positions. I think we can kind of tell that he settled on a batting unit. So what's your thoughts of the squad?
So look, I'm not entirely sure with Heinrich Klaassen what the story is if he's...
Oh, he's retired.
Is he retired completely? Okay.
Yeah.
Because I was about to say it would have been nice having him and Deerwald come in the subcontinent playing spin together. I'm surprised that Bjorn Fortuin, I'm a huge fan of his, so I'm not trying to hide my bias or anything like that. But I would have thought you'd have maybe given a guy like Bjorn Fortuin a go just to see as a backup spinner what he could bring to the side. I do like the Donovan Ferreira selection. I think that is quite clever because I think he has been playing quite well in the 100. I think he was in the 100. I'm not sure what team he was at. But yeah, all in all, I am quite happy with the team. My only concern is are they going to bet Luandre at 3? I'm pretty sure it probably will be the same as what they did in Australia. But yeah, I think it does look like quite a settled team. I'm very happy that Marco is back. I think he is honestly a genius. I think it probably is 90% settled, as you're saying, especially from a batting unit's point of view. But I think the bowlers, it just might be one or two spots up for grabs still, where you can see like a guy like Lazard is coming in. It'll be interesting to see if he plays Lazard in game 1 or how he goes about doing it. I do think maybe a guy like Gerald Kutsia, as you're saying, could also probably have a claim for a spot. Sometimes I do feel that he is a little bit on the touch of the expensive side in his spells, but I think it's purely just because of his pace and the batters sticking their bats out, and the ball will automatically fly for 6. But it's going to be interesting to see what he does with the bowling department.
Yeah, the big disappointment is that the all-rounders that he's picked haven't really come to the party with the bat. Corbin Bosch hasn't. Senator Mutasami hasn't. So I think that's the big problem. The ones that Coach Shukri has backed as all-rounders haven't really come and shown their quality with the bat quite yet in the matches that we've seen. I do have a bit of an issue with George Linder not being here. I do feel that George Linder is probably one of the best spinning all-rounders, or probably is the best spinning all-rounder that we have available to us. Someone that can hit at the back end and then also be quite dangerous with the ball. Now, for the Proteas, he hasn't necessarily been very consistent with the bat and shown us all of that ability that we see with him when he plays for Western Province. But I am a bit disappointed that he doesn't get a little bit more chances over here. I hope this is not the end for him. I hope that this is maybe just Coach Shukri he's seen enough. He knows George probably, and he's seen what enough of what George can offer, and he knows what he's going to get out of George. Now it's chance maybe to give some other guys chances like Donovan. I don't think Coach Shukri's really looked at Donovan Ferreira properly. So maybe this is an opportunity to see maybe he can be that guy, for the Proteas. But David Miller coming back into the mix does make a little bit of an issue because he's going to want to bat in that 5-6 position. So this whole six batters are probably going to play. So your seven's probably going to be either Donovan, or based on conditions, Donovan or Corbin, um, and then fill up the rest with your bowlers. So it's going to be very interesting to see. We play the first ODI on the 2nd of September, then the second ODI on the 4th, and the third on the 7th. And then in the T20s, we play the 10th of September, 12th of September, and 14th of September. Stuart, I'm really interested to hear what Coach Shukri has to say about the squad. So let's listen to his presser
Okay.
and see if he explains anything in here that we maybe don't know. My bad. That was put into the wrong window.
Congratulations on the series victory, first of all. Did things get away from you a bit in the field today?
Yeah.
Is this Timber?
Hmm.
I downloaded the wrong one.
That's okay. Whatever you want to listen to, I don't mind.
No. This is not on. You guys listen to Temba so long, and listen to what I has to
Under
say while I
pressure
go get the real
from
one.
first over. We just didn't recover. Obviously, as a bowling unit and a team, I think the guys batted obviously very well up front. Like I said, put us under pressure, and they were able to stretch their partnership. So, yeah, we probably just didn't pitch up today for whatever reasons. We'll still have those chats, those debriefs. It wasn't our best display of cricket today.
And you had quite an experience bowling. Is that Kesha set up the game that we played with? Could you sort of agree that maybe the lack of experience that
Yeah, whatever it is. Look, I mean, from a control point of view, that definitely wasn't there. Like I said, when they put us under pressure, we weren't able to come up with any type of solutions for that. So, I mean, yeah, you could say inexperience, but I think the guys play a lot of cricket nowadays to be able to get the necessary knowledge. But I think it's like I said in the post match. uh, Chat. Today's a learning curve, not just for the younger guys, but for even the batters. It's not every day where you get to where you are chasing 420. So to be able to come up with some type of formula, if there is a formula, that's something that we kind of need to get to terms with.
the Australians really seem to target that short boundary today? Just how hard is it to defend from a captaincy point of view when there is a much shorter side?
Yeah, it becomes tough. I mean, the wind was also blowing towards that side. So, but I think those are just the things that you need to consider in terms of the conditions, in terms of whatever your plans are. They definitely exploited that. The left and right combination obviously helped a lot in that. Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna end it there because this is just who wants to hear that. So yeah, I've got Coach Shukri, Coach Shukri's presser here. So let's listen to his thought processes around the squad.
Hi there, Shuks.
Yeah, it's 20 minutes.
Well done on the series win. It's great to see the
Okay, I'm gonna stop it when at some point, guys. I just want to hear the reasons on why he selected certain player. I don't think we're gonna listen to this whole bloody thing. So he's gonna probably talk about the reasons for leaving certain people out, and when he stops doing that, then I'm going to move on.
guys, and it's great to see another guy standing up and perform. But I just want to know about the players, especially Gerald. What is the situation of Gerald Pitsia? And then also with the bowling action of subs, you're not keep going to include him.
Yeah, the first thing, Shubzi is obviously, like I said the other day, until he gets tested, he's allowed to play, but we felt it best that he be kept out of the spotlight. I know he's getting his test done in Brisbane early next week. Which day exactly, we're not quite sure yet. So when we go via Brisbane to the UK, he'll stay over for that test. With regards to Gerald's obviously, like I say, on his way back in, he'll play for the A side. And obviously based on performances, we've still got another couple of tours leading up to the T20 World Cup, and I'm sure Gerald will get opportunities in a couple of those.
Okay, yeah, I think Gerald. Yeah, we know he's in the SAA squad, so he's gonna try and he's given Gerald he's given him a mission to fight his way back into the team, kind of. So that's where it is at. And he didn't really answer the Brian thing clearly there. I still it.
No, I think he just said about going for the test next week. I'm sure it will eventually come out, but yeah, holding thumbs.
Thanks, Johan. Stu?
Thank you.
Thanks, Lucy. Hello, Shukri. Just on your general, this is a very general question, but I mean the areas within the T20 squad that you would like to see, I guess, solidified or filled with these next few series that are coming up. What are the critical areas you want to see strengthened before going to India?
Here we go. This is an important question, guys, because this will give us a lot of insight into what his thinking is. So, guys, listen carefully because we might have to read between the lines when it comes to Gerald. I don't know if someone actually asked him about, not Gerald, about George. I'm not actually sure if someone actually asked him about George.
I don't know if it's an area necessarily, but maybe just a couple of mindsets that we need to embrace. I think the guys are doing that slowly in terms of how we want to play with the bat and with the ball. Obviously, I think whenever we talk mindsets and strategy and all of that, very often we just refer to the batters, but I mean it holds for the bowlers as well. I mean, as we get closer, you'll find more guys that will be in that squad, I think, than out of the squad. So the UK, I mean, I'll be very surprised if the bulk of these guys aren't on the flight to India for that World Cup. But like I said, very difficult to answer you, Stewie, in terms of if it's a particular batting spot or not. I think we've got enough batters that cover pretty much all the positions, maybe tweaking it here and there, depending on the balance you want to go with in a particular match. And then on the bowling front, again, just like we'd be able to execute what is needed in a place like India and start working towards that. So it's not like a position or an area necessarily, but it could be just like a little tweak here and there and a mindset change, if anything.
Can I just follow quickly on that, Lucy? Shukri, the mindset, is it a purely as simple as saying you want them to be more aggressive in terms of their approach, both with bat and ball and in the field?
Yeah, I think so. I think aggressive could mean different things to different people. I think the one thing that we constantly trying to get the guys to do and buy in, and I think there has been a buy-in, is that depending on the conditions, you base it accordingly. So if you get on a really good wicket as a batter, you want to take it on a lot earlier, depending on your batting depth. Again, I've said this before, in the tours that we've played, we have played a batter light, and I've done that deliberately to try and urge guys to go in a certain way. And then similarly with the ball, what's required on that wicket. We might need to swing the new ball. What do our spinners need to be doing? Is Yorker bowling a way to go? Change-ups and variations, all of those sort of things. So, and that's the mindset I talk of. When the conditions speak to a certain skill set, then we must be able to do just that. And it needs to be done aggressively, But again, I say, aggressive could mean different things to different people.
Thanks, Stu.
That was interesting. That was interesting. Because he said that he actually batted a batter light deliberately, so he can force basically batters into playing a certain way or getting to the right mentality, knowing, So that's a little smart move. I've never heard that being said by a coach yet, Stu.
Do you think when he says they're playing a batter light, do you think his thinking might be, and this is just purely speculating, like maybe a guy obviously David Miller will come in, but then maybe Donovan Ferreira will probably be that number 7, because we do know that he can, what's the word? Like he can do a job with a little bit of part-time off spin, and also gives you the option to keep as well. So I think out of the 3 all-rounders that we saw in the squad, to me, he is the most guaranteed to get you runs with the bat. So I
The
found
thing
that
that
quite.
concerns me in the T20 games too is that Coach Shukri said it in our last presser that we reacted to. He spoke about not all-rounders not being as important in T20 cricket for him. So he wants to pick his best 6 batters and his best bowlers.
So 6-5.
So I'm a little bit confused about that because I'm not because he is picking though a lot of all-rounders. So I'm not 100% sure if his stance is still that. I do have concerns though that particularly because we're playing in India, Sri Lanka, that World Cup. It bothers me. The George Linder thing bothers me a bit. I don't know if he's out of the talkings for that or not, because he's a better bowler than Donovan. He might not, when Donovan is at his best, he might not be a better batter than Donovan.
Yeah.
If they're both in form at the same time.
But,
perhaps.
Yeah.
I'm not sure, but we know that we've seen George's ability, and that is a little bit of a concern because I do think that he's a better option than Senna Mutasamy in T20 cricket. That's my opinion on the matter. Purely because of the batting ability. And they both are similar bowlers as well when it comes to the way they because of the way they do that. The way they bowl. They're both left arm bowlers. They're not wrist spinners, they normal left arm spinners. So that is something that I'm a bit worried about.
Do you think they will go with two? I don't know. They should logically go with 2 out and out spinners in India, and ideally, 2 different types of spinners.
I mean, that's how I see it at least.
Yeah, logically that would be the most. That's how I thought. Like Sir Brian and Linda, Bjorn Fortuin. I mean, they could do a job as long as we know Kesh is probably going to start, guaranteed. But we just need somebody that can back him up and put pressure from the other end. That's when the ball is turning square. They can land it.
And that's why it's important that we have both Marco and David back into the side, because we can kind of probably get an idea now in England how he wants to build the bowling unit around his batters, because I think that's how he's going to go. And I know it's got to do with conditions as well. He's going to pick his best players for specific conditions. Coach Shukri has always been about that. But let's listen on here if there's anything else that's interesting.
Hi, Shukri. I just wanted to check with you with regards to Rassie van der Dussen. It must be hard to leave him in the shed because, in the previous Champions Trophy, he was a very consistent batter. He averages 50 with the bat. I assume it was a hard decision.
Yeah, no. Any decision to leave a player out and that's got a record like Rassie, and I'm pretty sure you speak of in the ODI space. I think the big thing for me, and I made this pretty clear to some of the older guys like Rassie and David, there's also another omission you'd see out of that ODI squad is I want to see after the T20 World Cup where we're at, and then obviously with these guys look at what the next year and a bit could look like. I don't want to get to a situation, Fani, where we get to late in 2026, early 27, depending on when the World Cup is, and you find that some of these older guys are not going to make it due to either form or fitness. And then I've lost an opportunity to play quite a few youngsters, and then you sit with a very inexperienced bunch. So I'm certainly not discarding any of those older guys, but I see this as a great opportunity whilst we've got time on our hands to afford a lot of our younger bucks playing time and for them to gain the necessary experience.
100% agree with him.
Yeah. You can't hold the logic.
The logic is logicking.
It's adding.
Yeah. So yeah, let's continue.
Thank you.
Thanks, Fani Ngoma.
Thanks, Lucy. Excuse me, Shooks, if I'm asking a question that's already been asked, but I still remember when you came on as test coach, your first squad didn't have Lungi Ngidi. I mean, after yesterday and obviously the final at Lords, I'm just interested to find out from you what have you made in terms of his improvements since the first time you took over and just like the journey that he's had, after you took over.
I think the big thing is
Fitness.
I think if I go back to when I took over, and if you're referring to leaving Lungi out of the squad and playing Gerald ahead of him, I think a lot of the time we did the same to Carl Verena. A lot of the time is you look at how guys respond to that, and Lungi's been nothing short of spectacular. He's come back and shown why he's got the record he has in T20 cricket. Even his test record is superb, albeit a lot smaller sample size. But I think he's probably as fit as he's been ever. He's as hungry as he's ever been with regards to how he goes about his business and his willingness to learn. And he's also shown the ability to lead an attack, in the absence of Kagiso. So I think Lungi's been nothing short of spectacular for us, and long may that continue.
Thanks, Ngoma. Johan?
Just regarding the last match tomorrow, is everyone fit, and will you give some other guys who haven't had a chance yet some chance to play?
There are a few guys, obviously. You saw Matty Beardske didn't field last night. He felt a little niggle, so he had a scan done today. Nothing untoward, thankfully. We might go conservatively with him. It's never been about affording everybody a chance to play. Lungi was always only going to play 2 matches of the ODIs, having played all the T20s. So 50 over cricket is a long day, and in our case, long day and night. And with this quick turnaround, and with an England tour a week away, we might look to rotate some of our bowlers. But ultimately, whatever we put out, we believe is the best side to win a series and or a match. And we definitely wanting to make sure that we try and win this 3-zip, and that's going to be our aim tomorrow.
Well, that didn't go so well. Yeah, well, at least there's a positive to take out of this. I think it was nice that we have transparency.
Yeah.
When Coach Shukri leaves people out, he explains it. It might not be a reason we understand or a reason that we agree with, but there's a reason. So a reason gets given to us, so we're not sitting in limbo, not understanding. Now I'm hoping that's... who's that? Going on like a maniac in the road. Okay, so when I'm hoping that somebody asks that question of George, that's what I'm hoping someone does. I was busy. I couldn't attend the press conference. I was busy. So I'm really hoping that someone asked it.
Donkey, Shooks.
Stu, and then we'll look to take the last questions.
I've got 2 here. Shukri, you went over it just now, but I was looking through the squad that's currently in Australia, and there's about 8 players with less than 20 ODI caps in that squad. When you're building experience and wanting guys to take lessons, just the process that you follow, Shukri, are you sitting down one-on-one with a Brevis, for instance, and saying, it's okay if you're going for 6 first ball and then trying it again second ball? Just the process in terms of sitting down with these guys, and particularly the younger ones, and what it is that you expect from them as you try to build experience into them over the next couple of years.
Yeah, I think the big thing is to look at what they do best, and not rein them in too much. But together with that, and this is what experience will do for them, it will it will teach them some of the smarts of the game, you know. So when to take on what bowler, given what the conditions are. So if you look at yesterday, for example, taking on the short ball when on a slowish wicket where they were bowling a lot of cutters, 3 men back, longest side of the boundaries, longest side of the ground, strong wind blowing across, not very smart. If it was done on the opposite end and he gets caught a deep square leg, I've got no issues with that, because that's what you want to encourage. You want to encourage them to double down on what they do particularly well. And a lot of the time they learn on the job, you know, and this is why when I say I want to afford a lot of these youngsters the opportunity, so that when the World Cup does come around, that we've got young players that have got 10 and 15 and 20 ODI caps rather than 5 and 6. But yeah, again, to answer your question, so yeah, constantly talking through that, what it looks like to them, what they've learned from every innings, but at every turn, encouraging them to take the game on. And again, whatever that looks like. But they're not one-trick ponies. Far from it. Deerveld definitely isn't a one-trick pony. It might look like it. But, I mean, he's got the bit between the teeth. We're talking horse parlance here now, but he's got the bit between the teeth. And we want to just make sure that he doesn't have the blinkers on and take the blinkers off a bit. And they can look around and see how better he can do the job that he does so particularly well.
As long as Coach is not betting on horses, then it's okay. Like the thing about this is that's brilliant is he takes note of those details, man. He didn't just say like if they go out attacking. It's how they go out to what shot.
Yeah,
That will decide whether he's happy or not. Like today, I feel I was happy with Deerveld that he went for that shot straight down the ground. I mean, it's a shot that he's good at and he knows and he's comfortable with. Sometimes it's not gonna go. It's not gonna work, but sometimes, more often than not, it's gonna. And he gets that 50. So rather let him learn those hard lessons now than learn those hard lessons in a World Cup. If you understand what I'm saying, Stu. So the fact that he's giving these youngsters an opportunity so right at the beginning of his tenure and not waiting and then maybe, okay, now let's check maybe 5 games into the World Cup. And then you're sitting with, like you said, an inexperienced team that only has 5-6 caps. The fact that this Australia tour was in Australia, it's invaluable information and learning opportunities for guys like Deerveld and Nwandre.
I think, you know, one of the things that I've really enjoyed, you know, not just it's been across the board with Shukri, is how he is bringing young players through. And I think what's worked for him is the fact that he has been in the system coaching the under-19s and he does know a lot of these guys. So, like, you know, when he is talking to Deerveld, for example, he's coached him at the high performance center. He knows what his, I want to say, batting language is. So I think it's been his man management, I think, is something that I've been really impressed by. And yeah, I think it's definitely.
And also being on a tour with them overseas in different countries, etc., whatever the case may be, being on tour with them in hotels, you know, seeing them in an informal setting, you get to understand the players' personalities and what makes them tick as well from a mental standpoint. And Coach Shukri also was a teacher, so he has that experience with younger people. So that also plays a massive part in his ability to be able to suss out which youngsters have the right characters to being in his team.
Yeah.
Okay, let's finish up this presser quickly.
Just my second one for you was specific to Donovan Ferreira. You know, he's been kind of on the periphery, as it were, for a very long time. Played six matches for South Africa. I wondered, from your perspective, and I know you weren't coach all this time that he started, but why do you think he hasn't been able to be a consistent presence in that side, or at least in squads? I know Klaasen and Miller and those guys were around, but you know, what will it take for him to be a consistent player in the side, given the role that he's asked to play?
I can hazard a guess as to why he hasn't been, and I think you might have given the answer there, because of the caliber of players that we've had, in David and Classy. Aiden was batting in the middle, so Stubber was there. So it's really difficult to slot him in, possibly, is the only reason I can think of. Now, with Aiden moving to the top of the order, I'm sure that's going to come under question soon, or will make for a healthy debate. But I think gaps have opened up, and again, if we can find the ideal position for Donovan, I haven't seen a hell of a lot of him, I must be honest. Obviously, just following him watching him on playing the 100 and all the leagues he plays in. I think he's probably the most natural six-hitter there is. And if we can find the right, I think the modern day word is entry point for him, then I think he can be really destructive for us, and it puts a bit of pressure on the rest of the lineup in terms of spots up for grabs, because I reckon one other spot has been booked at number 4. And then, I'm really excited about Donovan in terms of what he brings. He looks like a jet in the field. He might be able to bowl some filthy but handy off spin for us in T20 cricket. And if he could continually smack the ball the way he does, I think he might just have a gig for a while still.
Thanks.
I think he's talking about Deerwald when he says number 4.
Yeah, because Luandre in the T20s was coming in at 3, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm sure it was Deerwald.
Yeah, so okay. Donovan is an interesting one. Like he said, he doesn't. I thought that was the reason. He hasn't seen much of him, and he wants to see some of him. I know he knows George Linder very well, Coach Shukri. So I don't know. Are we going to have to wait and see what happens with George?
Thanks, Stu. Benjamin?
Thanks, Lucy. Good evening, Shukri. My question is about Deerwald, and you mentioned during the T20 series that you hope that he doesn't change the way he plays and he continues with sort of his style of play. I just want to know, in keeping that style of play, do you have some sort of advice for him in changing formats from T20 to the 50 overs to sort of learn, as you say, the smarts of the game within the 50 overs? Because it hasn't really worked the last couple of games for him in the ODIs. And then just secondly, you won your 5th consecutive ODI series against Australia. What in your view has been sort of the difference between the two teams? Because it hasn't been close edging type of wins. It's been really convincing. What's been the difference for your team? Thanks.
That was a long question.
Yeah, I think we've without wanting to sound arrogant about it, I think we've got a hell of a team, and I've always felt that in the white ball space we've got really good cricketers, and I think the big difference is, well, one of the differences is that batsmanship still counts for a lot for me, both T20 and 50 over cricket, probably more in 50 over cricket. But the art of batsmanship coupled with the power game, and I think we've got all of that. We've right down to number 7. A guy like Vian Mildo bats at 3 for our test side. There's batsmanship there, and they've got a power game, to match all of it. All of those guys that we talk of. So I think there's that, and then, like I've always said, our bowlers will always keep us in games, whether you're talking test cricket, T20, 50 over format. We've got some wonderful bowlers, both quicks and spinners. So I think that's probably been the biggest difference thus far. We're obviously going to look to nail that down tomorrow. With regards to Deerwald Brevis, yes, so long ago that question. I think the big thing is that a lot of the experiences he'll find out for himself. He'll work it out. And yeah, we obviously sit down and chat, but we don't want to make too much of it, and I think expectation is a hell of a thing. He's played this knock that I was really privileged to be able to see in tens in a T20 match. And I think everybody's always going to measure him against that. Every time he walks out to bat, whether it's an ODI or a test match or anything, they're always going to say, well, yeah. So anything compared to that is going to be a failure, and it's going to look ugly when it doesn't come off. But he'll work it out. He's a smart young man, and I'll continually say this: he'll grow older, but I hope he always plays with the spirit of a 22-year-old.
Thanks, Benjamin. Fani, I just want to see if that's an old hand as we look to wrap this media up.
No, Shukri, no.
Oh, yeah. Is it what? Sorry, Fani, were you saying no, it's an old hand or a new hand?
No, it's a new hand.
Okay, please go ahead and then we'll look to wrap. Thank you very much.
Shukri, and just in terms of tomorrow's match, in terms of the 1% improvements that you seek, obviously the fielding is one, but I want to ask you a little bit about the match awareness. One example, for example, Stubbs over 43 goes hypercritical because he scored 73 and was brilliant. But do you think that maybe the match awareness is something that the guys can still improve on, understanding that many of these players are 25 and younger and still improving on the games?
Match awareness always, yes, but I think Stubbs is a bad example because I'd encourage that, whether it's the 45th or the 48th over. I don't think it makes a difference. I think everything was in his favor. It was downwind. And the question was whether it was an execution or an awareness thing. I didn't have a problem with the awareness. Maybe he didn't execute particularly well. But a lot earlier in the game with fielder back and a lot earlier in his innings, he also clubbed one over long on. So I'm not too worried about that. I think there are probably a few other dismissals where guys were taking on long boundaries into the wind. I think that would have been better examples of match awareness. And when I speak to that, then I think, yes, there's always a match awareness that we need to, game awareness that we need to be on top of. And yeah, we spell these things out and we obviously have a debrief. And yeah, hopefully the guys grow from that and they pick it up. But I certainly don't have a problem with Stubbo, who's got power of Samson, and if it's downwind, 9 times out of 10 he's smacking it out the ground. And on this occasion he didn't, so I don't really have a problem with that.
Okay, cool.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. I'm sorry. Oops, Stu, it's gone. Okay, there we go. Yeah, so that's that. I thought someone was gonna ask about Dewald, but I mean about Georgie, but I think he's answered it kind of by saying that he wanted to have a look at Donovan.
Yeah.
I just have this slight concern about his loyalty to Senaran Mutasami. I like Senaran's attitude, his mentality. He's a smart cricketer. That is for sure. But if we're gonna pick a spinner other than Kesh, right? We can't have 2 spinners, I feel, unless they are something special like a wrist spinner or something. I feel like they need to be able to at least bat. You have one specialist spinner, which is Keshav already, even though he can bat a little bit here and there when he feels like it, and he gets it in the middle of the bat. But the main thing for me is that we're gonna need another spinner that can bat, and I do feel that George is a better player than Sen at the moment. So let's see what happens with Don, because Coach Shukri wants to have a look at him, and I think that's a spot that's going to be they're going to be in competition for that one spot. I feel the rest of his team is kind of set. 6 is set. I think it's that 7 spot. And 8, 9, 10.
Yeah.
So Stu, your final thoughts?
Yeah, I was very impressed with how he, what's the word, like, was talking about chatting to the young players, and the whole risk versus reward kind of thing, as we said in the when we paused earlier on. I liked how he said that he doesn't mind guys taking risks, but there must almost be like logic to the madness, like don't hit into the wind and stuff like that. So I like that I know it sounds very, what's the word, simple to say, but it's quite clever messaging. I do think I would like to see Mutsasani perform, because at the moment in the Australia series, he didn't wow me at all. I thought, especially in the T20 series, he did bowl quite a few extras, and I think it's a bit of a there's a technical flaw there. I don't know if the front arm not going down, that the commentators were saying. But yeah, I am shocked that George was dropped, because I thought with the new regime and stuff like that, I thought he would have been in the team sheet. But yeah, I mean, it doesn't sound like, how can I put it, like the door is completely closed. I do think what he was saying was he was wanting to give younger guys a run in the side, so that they can build that experience. But I don't think that necessarily means that, like a guy like, for example, George Linder or Rassie van der Dussen is necessarily out of the team entirely. So yeah, it will be interesting to see how they go about it. I do think in this World Cup, its spin is going to be the crucial factor, especially I think, if the juice coming on, it might be harder for the pace bowlers to control their line and length. So I do think we need not even necessarily world-class second spinner, but somebody that can just back Kesh up and put pressure on the bowlers. And I think, Lorenzo said it in the chat earlier, a guy like Linda offers you so much. So yeah, it will be interesting to see how they do go about it.
I can see Jansen at 8, and then KG, and so Jansen at 8, and then Kesh at 9, and then KG, and then whoever else he's gonna take at 11.
Do you think he's thinking Corbin or Dion for maybe
7?
I don't know if he, yeah, that might,
Or a
sounds
spinning
like
all-rounder,
Dion.
yeah. I think he's gambling between Senaran, Corbin, Vian, Donovan for that 7 spot.
Yeah. To me,
So
Dion's
and Jansen 8.
the
I think
moment.
Jansen sorted at 8, and then 9 it will be probably Kesh, and then 11 and 10 will probably obviously be KG, and then Lungi at 11 probably, or Nandre.
Yeah.
Whoever he's gonna go with regards to that last spot. So let's see. England will tell us a lot. But Stuart, thanks a lot for tuning in and coming on the
Thanks
show.
for having me.
Yeah, thanks to everybody else out there. Don't forget to smash the like button, comment, share, subscribe. We haven't had time to go into the live chat. I will try to have a session sometime where we can have a nice call-in show or something, where you guys can call in and I'll read all your comments, etc. I'll find a day for that. But yeah, it's been a long day, long night, long weekend. I need to rest. It's been crazy. So thanks a lot, everybody. Thanks, Stu. Me and Stu will probably, when he has some time, probably do another show where we discuss cricket. So you'll see a lot more of Stu now going over the next month, leading up to the England tour and during the England tour. So yeah, everybody out there, please, if you have comments and questions that you wanted to ask me, leave them in the comment section after we've ended the stream on YouTube, and I'll try my best to answer all of them over there. Thanks a lot, everybody, for watching, and we'll see you again very soon with another live cricket show. Stay safe, enjoy the rest of your evening, and peace out, everybody.